This is my leadership project based on the Positivity Project curriculum used at our school. The Positivity Project is a type of curriculum that we adopted in order to help our students learn new character traits and focus on what makes their personality strong. We use this curriculum once a day for 10 minutes. Now, the curriculum is really awesome and teaches kids really good vocabulary and how to look at kids in different lights. For example, their main objective is that students will care that other people matter. We are looking for more of a lasting effect for this Positivity Project. Students do it once a day for 10 minutes, but then the rest of the day it's out of their brains. Next morning it happens over again. For my project, I really wanted to fill this need and help it so that it was more of a school-wide community effect. I believe that this would help the students make more of a connection to the Positivity Project and feel like it was important to them and to their lives at school. If you are interested in more information, please click on the link that takes you to the Positivity Project website. The objectives for this were that students would be able to see examples of Positivity Project throughout the school. We have big TVs in the hallways all over the place that are never used. Up until this point, I've never seen them on, never seen them used, and I felt like this was a good opportunity for us to include Positivity Project throughout the school. My idea was to create some sort of slideshow or video that would be playing on that, either all day or maybe just when the students were coming in the morning or while they were leaving at the end of the day, so that kids can make a better connection to the Positivity Project. The second objective is that they'll be able to share examples of when they are shown. So not only will they be passive, but they will be active participants in this as well. When I first took this project idea to my administrator, she was very excited about it. She's someone that's really excited about Positivity Project, but hasn't had a lot of time to really invest in it. So she was really excited and it was easy to get her approval for it. Like I mentioned, our job was to create videos and slideshows for students so they can see it throughout the school and throughout their day. The big purpose of this was to increase interest in Positivity Project. The kids seemed to like it for the few minutes that we're doing it, but then like I said, it kind of just goes out of their brains and they don't think about it again. So we really wanted to increase their interest in this and just make them feel more accountable for their actions. We also wanted to give students more access to these characteristics. This way they could remember them, they could remember the vocabulary, they would use them more often. You know, when I use the word prudence once a day, it's not going to stick in their brains. I mean, even as adults, prudence is a word that isn't used very often, and since it's not used very often, we forget what it means. And so I really wanted to give kids more access to the characteristics and what they are and what they look like. What are some examples of them? I noticed at the very beginning of the year when I would ask them what is kindness, they would really just give me definitions of anything good. It wouldn't even really be about kindness. It could be about creativity. It could be about gratitude. So really give them more access to what it does the characteristic mean and what are some really specific examples of it. We also wanted to give them a chance to see the characteristics in other students. So not just see them as this far off idea, but really a chance to see who in my class is showing that, who's strong in this. We were able to get all the teachers to pick what they felt like was their strongest trait. And we created posters for them to put outside of their room. So mine says, Miss Bellender's character trait is creativity. And it just helps everyone feel like it's a bigger part of our lives. What is the impact of this? Well, higher student interest is very important. We wanted them to care about what we were doing. We also wanted students to share what others have done for them. We wanted more uses of the vocabulary words. And another part that I started thinking about was giving some more kids leadership opportunities. Our 4th and 5th grade students have the ability to really help out with this when it comes to technology. So giving them more opportunities to do something that they're interested in and also help out the school was important to us as well. Here's an example of a form that the kids have been able to fill out about each other. We just started this a couple weeks ago. So they can fill this in to say, you know, Susie was using the trait of bravery by standing up for her friend when someone was being mean to her. And then these forms can be turned into the teacher, which we take and then put into the slideshow. The kids have been super, super excited when they saw their own name in the slideshow or even their friend's name. And it's really boosted the whole positivity project in general. And I think that these slips are a big part of it because they feel like they are really a part of it and how it is working through our school. For our project constraints, we have no cost financially that has come from this project, as we have all of the TVs and ways to take pictures and videos that we needed. So there was no cost financially for this unless you wanted to count the cost of paper for making copies. Otherwise, no cost. There are a lot of time constraints. I have found that time has been the hardest part of this project. We are a brand new school, so there's a lot of stuff in general that's still getting figured out. So to add another thing onto the pile has been a little bit tricky. In order to combat this, we have done in my group that I formed a big diffusion of responsibility. And we haven't done a lot of meetings. It's been more about this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing, this is what you're doing, so that it can all get done and we're respecting people's time at the same time. To create the slideshows and the videos has been a little bit trickier than expected. I think it will get quicker as we go. You know, this was the very first couple times we've done it, so we haven't worked out all the kinks, but time constraints is definitely a big part of it. Another constraint is all of it's based on the scope and sequence of the Positivity Project curriculum. There's not a lot of wiggle room for us, so we kind of just follow their guide as what they think the order of the traits should be. So really we have to stick to that and we can't change it up. For example, when we had the big hurricane and we missed 3 days of school, you know, that week the kids only got that trait for 2 days and then we had to move on or else we would have gone behind. Here's an example of their calendar and where they see the traits fitting in. So you can see the different traits and then the weeks that they feel like that they should be in there. I've been fortunate to work with really amazing team members for this project, and they've really taken over their roles and their involvement and care about it as well. You know, one of the people on the team is Shannon Chapman, who is our counselor, and the Positivity Project is a big part of her job also. And so her and I have really worked together the most, and it's been really great because I feel like she really cares about it and takes responsibility of the project and is invested in it as well. As I mentioned earlier, the big thing that we kind of focus on is diffusion of responsibility. You know, Taylor's in charge of collecting all the forms and kind of going through them and picking ones that are good for us. I've been making the videos so far. We're going to kind of switch that up when January gets here, but just making that a streamlined process so that everyone can be involved, but we're still being respectful of everyone's time and kind of how long this is taking. If you go to the next one, here we go, it shows us our timeline. So I wrote this out for the people on the team just so that it's easier to see what's expected and when it's expected. So we have the Positivity Project characteristics here up until the end of the year and the week that we will be doing them. I wrote who's in charge of the video. So like I said, I've done the ones so far and I wanted to do them first just to set an example and kind of work out the kinks on my own before passing it off to other people. The date that's needed. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to get some 5th grade class assistants. We're going to start that in January. We just haven't been able to kind of get the ball rolling on that yet. But some of those kids from each of those classes are going to be aiding in creating the videos, which will help hopefully with the time constraints as well. Lastly, the assessment of how it's gone so far. So the successes so far have been involvement and excitement. The kids are so involved. They're excited about it. They love seeing their picture on the screen. They love writing the forms and filling them out. They get really excited when they see their friend doing it. And I've just noticed a lot more involvement in the Positivity Project in general. They seem to have a better grasp of what we're doing and why it's important and why we should look for those traits in other people, which has been a great thing to see. As I mentioned earlier, the biggest challenge has been time. I'm really hoping that this, once we kind of get it going a little bit more, that the time part will go down. But just creating everything and kind of getting the ball rolling has been pretty tough. For the future, I would like to find a way to make it easier for teachers to share images and stories. Right now, I feel like there are teachers that have ideas or they tell me it on the playground and it just kind of gets lost. And so finding more of a streamlined way to get those things without taking a lot of other teachers' time. So maybe some sort of Google form that they can fill out when something happens, or even that they could have their students fill out and it could just auto-populate to me and then they don't need to worry about it. Right now we haven't had that going, but that's an idea I have for the future. I also would like in the future just to keep this going so that the kids really feel encouraged by their positive behaviors. We have a lot of negative behaviors at our school, and so this has really helped boost the kids that are doing the right thing and also giving ideas to kids who maybe aren't making the best choices. I did pick this Prezi on purpose because I felt like it was showing that really if we open the box for what Positivity Project can do for us, then really our kids can soar and they can fly and they can really show their personality and their characteristics and the great things that they do for us.